Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark, and today I'm talking with Paul Groves at Warbucks Land Clearing, Excavation, and Drone Services. They're in the Tri-County area around Salem, Ohio. Paul, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Fantastic. So we've taken a look at some of what you guys are doing. It looks like you're doing great stuff. They're, like we say in the Tri-County area. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the history of the business and what you guys are up to today.
Sure. We started the business in 2020. We started out basically just doing minor excavation services, a little bit of land clearing, and we've kind of grown into a multi-service company. So now we focus mostly on the land clearing aspect of the business. Our other division of our company is a drone service. So we offer pet recoveries, which is part of our 501c3 nonprofit foundation, Compassionate Paws.
Wow.
Big majority of it now is crop spraying. So we use a drone and we cover areas of soy, corn, wheat, and other things like that.
Okay, fascinating. Do you, still a lot of the land clearing as well? Or is it kind of
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, yeah, we're actually on land clearing jobs today. So I just threw a different shirt on, came in for the interview and paused that, and everybody's out clearing land right now.
Gotcha. So interesting. I mean, we work with a lot of builders and, talk with a lot of builders and, remodelers doing subdivisions and things. Tell me a little bit about what's involved in the land clearing service that you guys offer.
Well, mostly what we get is, so again, like I said, we started out just clearing brush and other things for homeowners and small businesses. We've since moved on to larger clearing projects. Like you said, subdivisions as big as shopping malls, clearing projects, 50 to 100 acres, 200 acres. So, we'll get called by, usually it's a contractor or a developer. They'll call us in and they'll say, hey, we're putting in a subdivision in this area. We'd like a price on clearing everything all the way down to bare earth. So that's when we come in, we'll shoot a different estimate, just depending on the terrain, tree size, and material where they're grinding or mulching.
Okay. What percentage are you guys now doing the drone service these days? I mean, what percentage of the business is kind of taken up by working with drones and that aspect?
I can just say it's more of a seasonal division. So during the wintertime, in the fall time, we do a deer recovery. So clients, they'll call us, they'll have a wounded deer that they were unable to find. They'll call us out, we'll come out and we'll recover that deer using a thermal drone. So that's kind of like something that, that we'll do like early morning or in the evening, mingling in with the services. But then we also offer a 24-hour on-call service. It's a volunteer basis. We do not charge for our services. If your pet, livestock, anything would escape, we would come out for free and we would attempt to locate that animal for you.
Dude, that is amazing. Fascinating. I've been really intrigued with drones and the different applications for those. We saw on your site that you're an animal lover and you guys help with people finding pets with drones. That is amazing. I mean, I see actually a booth that you guys have had at a show for Compassionate Paws. Man, that is beautiful. Would you be willing to tell us just a little bit more about kind of like how you got into that part of things and how with the thermal imaging drone you're able to really help folks out? And that's an amazing thing that you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in aviation for probably about the last 20 years. I've been a pilot, manned aircraft and unmanned aircraft. I've just kind of always had a passion for it. So we established the drone business originally finding deer. That was our main focus. So we started to see the need for people looking for lost pets. They would call like, hey, we see you find deer. Can you find our lost dog? So we offered that service. And at first it was a pay service. And we just started to see so many people would call upset and they were unable to afford to pay for a service. And their animals are just out in the woods to fend for themselves and no one to help. So we established this foundation, Compassionate Paws, and created as a nonprofit. We come out, again, we'll come out on an emergency basis and we'll assist the owners find these animals. If the animal's injured or needs any kind of vet services, we will also, at no charge, assist in the vet coverage.
Wow. That is incredible, man. I went hunting once when I was a kid and it was rabbit hunting. We're out in Mississippi and a guy brought a lot of dogs and he had 5 or 6 dogs and man, sure enough, got to the end of the day and one of the older dogs hadn't come back. And it's one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever, seen. And, I had no idea that now that there were thermal drones that are going out and actually help someone locate this. I mean, what a lifesaver for an animal lover that has got a pet that's lost.
Yeah. And, you mentioned that because about 15% of our pet recoveries are from hunting dogs that are lost during the hunt. Their DPS collar will go dead, or they'll slip right from the vehicle before they have a collar put on, and they take off after an animal and they're unable to locate them. So that's definitely a big void.
Wow. Amazing. So I saw here in the excavation contractor category, you guys won Business of the Year in 2024, and it looks like for a couple of consecutive years. How did you get to win that award? I mean, doing incredible business, but I mean, what's involved in, kind of winning that award? What was that like for you and your team? And kind of how did that whole experience go of being literally Business of the Year in Salem for 2 consecutive years?
Yeah, so they have a committee and you're nominated into the voting category. So then the committee takes a vote and they award it to the different businesses in different categories. So this was the 2023, and then we were awarded the 2024, and then we were inducted into the Business Hall of Fame in 24. This year in 2025, we actually won the Ohio Business of the Year for excavation.
Wow.
So that's an award we literally just were notified that we won, and that's voted on by a panel of 60 people. So, that was a very prestigious award for us this year. And, obviously the Salem Awards aren't out yet this year. And I mean, we're hopeful for a third year. I mean, our exponential growth in 2025 has been just exceptional.
That is incredible. How many folks do you guys have on the team these days?
We have 3 full-time employees, and then we have a large fleet of subcontractors.
Okay. And Paul, how have you dealt with a lot of contractors we work with and talk with here on the show? They have really struggled with finding talented and high quality team members. To me, you've got 3 people on a team, but you've also got a big bank of subcontractors. I get the sense that your culture is just like dead on, that you guys winning these awards and things, that doesn't come easy. Do you have any thoughts or advice on how contractors that are struggling to find, recruit, and retain high quality team members? Do you have any secret sauce on how to kind of do that and how to, find people and keep them around? Because, everyone is trying to poach your team members off, and you've been able to keep a growing team, and you guys have got a great year going on now. What's your secret with finding a retaining team?
Well, I can tell you this. So the consistency of our team has been phenomenal. We have retained almost 95% of our contractors, and maybe the other 5 that we did not retain just moved on to different opportunities that they had that were just going 100% on their own, not contracting. But I think the biggest thing for us is, I don't want to use the word fun, but we're a place that we offer such a multitude of services and education that there's no repetition of coming to work and hanging drywall and screwing the same screws and the same thing day after day. Every day you come into work, we do different things. We have different projects. We set softer deadlines for things, and there's no, this needs to be done by Friday or we're going to be working through the weekend. Everybody has options of making their schedule. In 5 years in business, we've never missed a deadline. So I think if I was going to attribute it towards finding the people, it is hard. It's a very hard thing. And we've been blessed to retain the people that we have. Because obviously you're going to have people apply for these jobs, and they're going to come in and they're going to promise you the world, and they can do nothing that they promise they can do. They just want to come in and get the job, and they're going to oversell themselves. And unfortunately, that I don't care what business you're in, you're going to have that. But again, I think retaining our contractors, bringing in new people. And I mean, we receive hundreds of applicants a year, and people just see the Business of the Year. They see us out in public. They see our equipment. They see the drones, and they just see the different things and just the educational value of learning a trade that they can either stay with us or continue on somewhere else.
I see. Amazing. And when you talk about the education piece, we've seen that's like super helpful. I was a builder back in the day, and some contractors I worked with, they were really focused on teaching me a lot, and other contractors, they weren't too much. And I always really gravitated towards the GCs and the teams that I could actively learn. What do you do for the education piece for people that come onto the team and wanting to kind of grow their own skills for their own business?
So usually, I like the guy that doesn't come in with a resume that's like 3 pages long, who already has it in their mind how to do things. So I like a guy that just started to learn how to weld, or just started to learn how to operate equipment. So since we have so many experienced operators, we're in no way in need like desperate need of someone right now with all these experience. So, I like to bring them in, put them with myself or one of our more educated guys, really teach them the way that works for us. Obviously, the things that have gotten us where we're at, the exponential growth, the business of the year, things like this. These are the things that I like to instill in them of how we do these certain things. So when you come to work for Warbucks, you're not just running a bulldozer or digging a hole or cutting trees. You're learning how to fly drones. You're learning how to map. You're learning how to weld. You're learning how to fabricate. I mean, it's such a multi-layered education that you get that it's so hands-on, and you're not just learning a single skilled trade, because anybody can learn how to weld and anybody can learn how to run a bulldozer, but a person that can do everything that's required, jump out and fix their machine or just make a minor repair. And it is in the real world outside of us that's golden. The guy with the college education is great. I have them, but the guy that can just get out and do what needs to be done is the most invaluable person that we have.
That's amazing. I love it. And Paul, have you found that because you've won these awards, I mean, you guys are getting kind of publicity from that and getting a lot of recognition now? It's a few years in a row, so you've got kind of that history. Have you found that folks are finding you guys, to work on your team and to work? I mean, has winning these awards been great for the business on the recruiting side and also on the even getting jobs and sort of easier to sort of close and, get quotes accepted and that kind of thing? I mean, has it been a really beneficial thing for you guys, or, it's just been kind of a side note that's been happening, kind of in the background?
No, absolutely. The awards that we've won have absolutely blazed the path for the larger jobs that we've received. People know the consistency. Wow. People know that seeing these awards consistently 3 years in a row that we continue to grow, that's great. And it also puts the tremendous amount of pressure on myself as the CEO. Top last year, consistently every year needs to be bigger than last year. And I mean, our growth has become so large, we're working on acquiring new property that connects to our property. And I mean, we're going to have a massive facility out here. It's wow. Every year looking for the new ideas. And we all struggled through different aspects. And with contractors right now, everyone's fighting for the same jobs. And the issue, and I told everyone last year, everyone asked me what we attribute growth to. And I told them, I said, listen, the growth this year, 2025, is going to come from working twice as hard for half the money. And people laughed, and it's funny, but it's not, because when you run into these circumstances and you run into this soft economy that we're experiencing now, you really have to do more, to acquire the jobs and to get things done. There's just not the money flowing and the grants and other things that companies were receiving for doing these jobs. So now everything's out of pocket. So this has been the most successful year, but the most trying year for us.
Well, thanks for kind of leading into something I wanted to ask you about. I mean, have you seen that things are starting to slow down? I mean, we've talked about here on the show, we've talked about, folks are seeing different. Some folks are seeing this. Some folks don't seem to see this as much happening. I look around, I see kind of cracks in the system a little bit regarding sort of, some of the economy stuff and maybe tariffs and whatnot. Everybody's got different thoughts about it and whatever. But I mean, boots on the ground, are you seeing that things slowing down? You guys have got these awards and you guys have got an amazing business that's happening. But I mean, you're talking with your buddies and things and other folks in the industry. Are you seeing things slowing down? Do you predict that over the next year or two, things are going to slow down and there's going to be kind of less jobs, and the folks that are going to be able to make it through that are folks, like you say, that are working harder, potentially for even less money? Are you predicting kind of a slowdown in the market?
I hate to predict that slowdown. I'm going to tell you with certainty, it's going to get bad before it gets worse, or it's going to get worse before it gets better. And, it's the first statement of it's going to get bad before it gets worse is accurate also. But I think we have not hit rock bottom. And, right now, I mean, we're in a dog-eat-dog market. And, again, people are fighting for these jobs. And at no fault of these contractors, we're starting to see great contractors that we've worked with in the past that have been excellent, and they do excellent work. Again, it's no fault of their own, asking us to sub jobs to them because of the soft market.
Interesting.
So everybody struggled through COVID. We made it through COVID, and then we get into a different type of economy. So, right now it's, I don't think we're at rock bottom, but I think we're heading towards it.
Wow. Amazing. Yes, that is what we've seen as well. And we've been kind of advising contractors that we work with and even talking about here on the show. I appreciate you sharing that. And it's maybe a little not the funnest thing to talk about, right? But I mean, this show here is kind of a place for folks to get together and kind of talk about what they're seeing. And I appreciate you being willing to just kind of mention that. I mean, there's still going to be plenty of work to go around, but it's going to be the people who are the best in the market or who are going to get those jobs. And I think we could just see sort of a roll up of jobs into the market leaders. And unfortunately, folks that are not contractors that are not as focused on having all their ducks in a row, they may struggle some and they may see some folks go out of business. At some point here in the future, things will get better after that, but you may have fewer, you may have less competition in the marketplace when that happens. And so for the contractors that can kind of make it through, can sort of batten down the hatches, so to speak, they may have actually an easier time here in a few years, but it could be a little bit rocky in the meantime.
Sure. I absolutely agree with that statement.
Yeah.
It's really going to be survival of the fittest. And, unfortunately for me, I consider myself the middle guy. I'm not the small guy. I'm not the big guy. And the big guys are always going to be the big guys. And I'm fine staying as the middle guy. We have consistent work. We get the kickbacks from the big guys. And it just seems like finding that happy medium for us has just created consistency because, as all business owners know, we thrive on consistency that we never get. It seems like the market is either we're begging for phone calls, paying for advertisement, or we're so overwhelmed that we can't handle the business and we struggle to find that happy medium. But it's once we find that happy medium and we adapt to those situations, it just seems like things go more smoothly. See us receiving 99% of our bids accepted and about 99% of success and smooth transition into these jobs. So it's been, I think the biggest part is overcoming and adapting in this environment. Once you can find that consistency that works for you, I think things are very smooth.
Wow. Amazing. Well, fantastic. So Warbucks land clearing, excavation, and drone services. We talked about the land clearing you guys have done and how you've kind of grown into a larger company offering many services. Talked about the 501c3 that you guys have where you help locate lost pets with your drones, and talk about the history of the business, some of your secrets around how to find a retained team and being consistent. Talked about the benefit of winning awards. That's absolutely huge. And, you guys have done an amazing job to win those. But now that you have, it's something you can hold out and you can say, look, business of the year here in the Salem area, and now potentially even now in Ohio as well. Talked about that things could slow down a little bit and it's going to be survival of the fittest, and folks that are got everything lined up are going to excel through those times, but that times may get a little bit leaner until they get a little bit into the tall cotton again, so to speak. Great interview, Paul. If folks are looking in the Salem, Tri-County area and looking for a company that does excavation and or some help with drone services, what are a couple of good ways to reach out to you guys?
The best is usually a phone call. Our phone number is 330-360-9561. You can also contact us through our website, www.warbucksexcavation.com. Facebook is a great way to connect. That way customers can look at jobs. They can personally interact with us, send us a PM. And when it comes to the PMs, we're lightning. You'll get a response within 2-3 minutes.
Fantastic. Love it. Great, guys. So we'll put the number up here on the episode, and also get in touch with warbucksexcavation.com. You can take a look at what Paul and the team is over there doing and see some photos of their work and some other good ways to get in touch there. Paul, thank you so much for being with us today. We've learned a lot and really helpful to learn what you guys are up to over at Warbucks.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Okay, man. Take care.